Hello, everybody. This is Hondo Carpenter, your Las Vegas Raiders beat writer on SI and the host of the Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast. I wanted to very quickly start tonight by apologizing to you. I know I'm wearing the same shirt I wore yesterday. I have not been to bed yet. It's not that I'm lazy or anything like that. I literally just have not been to bed yet. My plane was delayed 4 times. I just walked in the door and I'm leaving at 4 a.m. to go with two of my five sons and my bride and some friends to Cabo. I'll be working the whole time there, but so we'll still be coming at you. So I apologize for wearing the same shirt. It's not because I'm dirty and I'm not going to pretend it's been washed. It's just been one of those days. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But we're going to get into my sixth mock draft now. And I need to quickly qualify to you how I do my mocks. Now, I had a chance. There are 5 people who pick before the Raiders, and I asked them to pick. And then what I do is I weight all my picks. So if somebody picks a guy at number 1, that's worth 5 points. And if a guy gets picked at 5, it's worth 1 point. I weigh all the picks. The top 5 numbers guys are the 5 guys off the board. Then I ask the 5 guys who help me, can you please tell me what you think the Raiders do? Now, so these are not Hondo opinions, and they're basing it on what they think other people are going to do. They're basing it upon guys they know the Raiders have interest in. So please remember all that. There are 2 major trades in this draft by the Raiders. 2 major trades, a bunch of new names, and oh, by the way, setting the Raiders up for a unbelievable move next year. So let's start round 1. Raiders have the 6th pick, and I project that they trade that with Dallas for Dallas's number 12 pick. Now, additionally, they're going to pick up Dallas's number 44, and there's going to be some other compensation, but just for this mock, that's all I'm going to talk to you about. Then I have the Raiders at 12 out of that pick and dropping to 26 with the Los Angeles Rams. Now, in that scenario, we've got something very unique. Excited to tell you about this one because it is going to be incredibly unique. I'm grabbing my notes here. So, in this scenario, they would pick up from Dallas's um, number 44 pick in the second round. They would switch first rounders and get next year's first rounders. Now, it's really important to remember that. So they drop to 12, pick up a second, and pick up a first rounder next year. Now, follow me for a minute. The Raiders then trade that with the Rams. They get several things from the Rams, including obviously switching first rounders. So they go from 12 to 26. They pick up the Rams pick in the third round, number 90. So now they have another third round pick and their first rounder next year for the Rams and some additional pick and some additional compensation. Excuse me. Not going to get into all that additional. But here's the big deal. They now have 3 first rounders for next year. 3, which then sets them up next year to do whatever they got to do to get up and get Arch Manning. It allows them to trade 3 first rounders. They could potentially trade 5. They could do 3 in 2026, 27 and 28. They could do any number of combinations to whoever gets one, if one is willing to trade. But the point is, there's going to be so many good quarterbacks next year. It allows them to have 3 first rounders next year. So with that first pick at 26, I have him taking Gray Zabel, the versatile offensive lineman out of North Dakota State. They love this guy. They're able to get him at a great place of value. This guy plays all 5 positions on the offensive line. He was the best at the Senior Bowl where he dominated. And I told you at the Senior Bowl, I was not there. I was obviously in Vegas because they were announcing Spy Tech and all of that, and all that general manager stuff was going down. Weren't announcing it, but all that was going down. So I was not at the Senior Bowl because of that. But I told you, out of their NFL people were like, man, the Raiders love this guy, and nothing's changed. So I've been taking Gray Zabel number 1. Second round, pick number 37, which is their pick. I got him taking Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle out of Michigan. He should be a first rounder. He's a first round grade guy. But there's a lot of bad drafters in this draft. A lot of them. A lot. And I've got him getting Kenneth Grant. Remember, this is what other NFL executives are thinking is going to happen. Every one of them said Kenneth Grant shouldn't be there. But there's so many bad drafting teams, he probably is because some other guys are going to fall. Now, listen, if everybody drafted good, Grant's not going to get past Pittsburgh in the first round. But I think some other guys are going to fall, and so did these executives. It's going to allow Grant to get past Pittsburgh. Raiders grab him at 37. Then with the Dallas pick, number 44, another guy with a first-round grade that's going to fall, Caleb Johnson, the running back out of Iowa. So the Raiders in their first 3 picks get Gray Zabel on the offensive line, Kenneth Grant on the defensive line, and Caleb Johnson, all 3 with great first-round grades. Then, round 3, pick 68, I've got him taking Jabbar Muhammad out of Oregon, a ball hawk. A ball hawk. This guy has potential to be great. I talked about him at the owners' meetings. I couldn't believe the number of people talking about this guy. And I knew the Raiders were somewhat interested in him, but Jabbar Muhammad in the 3rd round. Then also at number 90, remember this is the pick from the Rams now. I've got the Raiders taking Jared Wilson, the offensive lineman from Georgia. I've talked a ton about him. I've told you how much they love him. Put the tape in. But he's moving up draft boards. And I had one guy tell me, I know I told you in the past that he would drop because of so many drafters, but his value's going up. He goes, I don't think he gets out of the 3rd round. So I got him taking Jared Wilson in the 3rd round. Then in the 4th round, I got him taking Will Howard, quarterback out of Ohio State. And then in round 5, I've got him taking pick 143, Danny Stutzman, out of Oklahoma University, linebacker. Can play in, he can play out. Versatile kid. They love this guy. Real athletic. Now listen, they feel good about linebacker right now. They got some young talent there. Gainer. But they really like them some Stutzman. Don't forget, Tommy freaking Eichenberg is still in the building. Amari Burney, he's going to have a big year now. He's going to have to bring it. But they feel good about that one. So you get Stutzman in the 5th, who's got a big, huge upside. Absolute instantaneous special teamer, and a guy that's going to play a lot. He's going to play a lot. But they like them some studs. And then still, Antoine Wells Jr., the wide receiver out of Ole Miss. I got them taking him at 180. So let's break this down a little bit. Gray Zabel. I kept saying Noble Gray the other day because I have a friend named that. How stupid. It's Gray Zabel, and I know that. Sorry. You work a lot and you don't sleep a lot. It kind of runs together right now. It's all coming at you like drinking out of a fire hose, and I apologize. But Gray Zabel, this guy, I've been talking to you about him since the Senior Bowl. Mean. Got a side of mean in him. Super nice kid. Reminds a lot of people of Cody Mauch last year, who the Raiders loved. And oh, by the way, Spy Tech took him. But a little bit more versatile. Well, I say a little bit, trying to be nice because I love Cody Mauch, and I still do. Love Cody Mauch. But better than Cody Mauch. And can play all 5 positions. You instantly bring in a guy that's going to compete everywhere. He's a stud. He's a stud. And I had one guy, a general manager, tell me at the owners' meetings, he goes, Gray Zabel's a 10-year guy. Now, I'm going to tell you how much I trust this man's judgment. When Zach Martin came out and Dallas took him, he told me, it's a 10-year guy. That guy's a stud. And I asked him, I said, you're using the same verbiage you used for Zach Martin. He goes, I am. All right. He goes, we got him high. So again, that Gray Zabel, now you watch him. He's so versatile. I mean, he's got the arms for tackle. Just the way he creates separation and he just gets them meat hooks and he can just, I mean, he gets those meat hooks on a guy and he keeps his hands in the right place and he just is so, I mean, he's going to get stronger now, but he's just so, just that ability with his hands. He can move guys and he can get stronger and he will. Needs to. I love me some Gray Zabel. I've been telling you that for long, and I know the Raiders like somebody gonna get a football player now. That's a football player. That's a guy you just put in the tape and say, give him a leather helmet. Because he would have played back in those days. Gray Zabel, man, he is old school. He's just a grinder. He's a guy that's quintessential type Raider. He's just got that edgy. Just let's go. Let's just get it. Let's get it on. I love me some Gray Zabel. And then let's talk about Kenny Grant. Now this pain. This pains me. Sorry, let me get some Chloraseptic. This pains me as a Spartan. And I'm half kidding. Half. I love Kenneth Grant. Good kid. He's mean. He is a just a mean. Plays with just a little bit of an edge. Now he's a big mauling monster. You get him on a defensive line with Tyree and Malcolm and Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins and Adam Butler. You throw Kenneth Grant in that mix? All of a sudden, some guy that gets to the line of scrimmage and says, I own this piece of real estate. And he's got twitch. He's big now. And so those offensive linemen think, well, he's a big guy. He's a space eater. Well, he is. But he's a space eater that wants your space. And here's the thing. He can play the run and the pass. He can rush. He can play the run. That Kenny Grant now. That guy, he's a ball player. I love him. I like all these guys. Then you get Caleb Johnson, one of 4 running backs for the first round grade. But because there's so many bad drafting teams, you snag him at 44. You're stealing the guy. You instantaneously. Pete Carroll goes home, pulls up his silver and gray blankie, gives his wife a kiss, pours himself a martini, and says, I'm sleeping good tonight. I just got my back. My guy. Caleb Johnson from Iowa, man. I'm telling you. I got some buddies who were running backs. I may get one of them on the podcast. I got some buddies from who played at Iowa running back. I'm going to get one of them on the podcast to talk about this kid. But let me just tell you, this guy he can see the field. He can adjust. He's a guy that he can run around you, but man, he kind of like to run over you a little bit. What are you noticing here about these first 3 picks, folks? Come on, folks. What are you noticing here? Guys that play with edge, compete, fighters, scrappers. I was joking with Dan Campbell at the owners' meetings, but these are kneecap biters. I told him, I told Danny, I said, I love that line of yours. When he did it, when he got hired at the Lions, he talked about he want guys that chew kneecaps. I said, that's the spy tech mentality. And all of a sudden now, Pete Carroll loves that stuff. Tom Brady, he was a quarterback, but he was a kneecap, but he was just competitive, fire in his bones. It's just like fire shut up in their bones. Then you come in and you get Jabbar Muhammad. That's a guy that ball hawk, see ball, get ball. So if a running back's holding it, coming. Quarterback drops, I'm going. And he's going to go out there, plays a little bit like a Lester Hayes. Just give me that football. It's mine. Hakeem Olajuwon, when he first came to America to play basketball at the University of Houston, I love this story. They basically told him, because he came from Nigeria and he's learning the game, you're so big, go get the ball, put the ball in the cylinder. And if it's at the other end of the court, get the ball, get down the court, put it in the cylinder. So every time the ball would go up, he'd yell, he had broken English, he'd yell, my ball, my ball. That is Jabbar Muhammad. My ball. Ball's in the air, my ball. Running back's got the ball, my ball. He's a ball hawk now. He's going to need some coaching. He hasn't had bad coaching in college, but he's got to step it up more. But he may be, I told you I had people tell me this at the owners' meetings, the best ball hawking corner. Jabbar Muhammad, stealing him. Number 3. And he's a corner that just plays like a linebacker. Just let's go hit somebody. Then Jared Wilson. I've spoke so much about Jared Wilson. I had somebody from Georgia joke with me who works at the university. They're like, Hondo, we love your podcast talking about Jared Wilson. I'm good friends with them. They go, we were playing it for everybody. You should be his agent. I love me some Jared Wilson. I'm going to make this prediction, write it down, and hold me accountable. I believe Jared Wilson will start games next year if he stays. You never know with an injury. He's not injury prone. And I think that guy will play in a Pro Bowl. Not next year, but will play in a Pro Bowl in his career. He's just got that. Got that Gray Zabel in him. A little bit of just meat hooks, but his twitch. Katie, bar the door. He is just moves guys. He's just like a caterpillar bulldozer. In fact, if the Raiders pick him, me and Zamir gave Delmar DJ Glaze the nickname the Mule. He's got because he's just so sure-footed. If you've ever ridden a mule, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Mules are just so much sure-footed. I'm a horse guy, and I love riding horses and all that in the snow in Michigan. The mules are actually better than most horses, unless you ride drafts like I do. But mules, because they're just so sure-footed, man. Ice, snow, doesn't matter. You get them on ice, you get them on snow, doesn't matter. If they get Jared Wilson, we're calling him the Dozer. The Dozer. Now, Will Howard, I've talked about him ad nauseum. Chip loves him. If Chip thinks that's my guy, I'm in with Chip. I trust Chip. And then Danny freaking Stutzman. Now, I can't use freaking because that's Eichenberg, but they have the same approach. I love Stutz. Love him. I love watching this guy. Just go put the film in. Just, I mean, at the owners' meetings, I watched so much film of this guy. It's kind of tipped off a little bit. I mean, I knew who he was. I've watched him already, but that's why he entered this mock. And watching film of him, then I had one guy send me access to his account to watch some other film that I couldn't find online of Stutz. And I'm like, what in the world? You put him with a Patrick Graham? Good night, Irene. You throw a Stutz in there. You just go watch the film and tell me, forget that you're looking at OU colors. Tell me you can't see him wearing silver and gray. You got Devin. You got E-Rob. You got some good linebackers. You throw Stutz in there. Gainer. Tommy freaking Eichenberg. I got to think of a good nickname if they get Stutz. I got to think of something good for him. If Jared Wilson's going to be the dozer, I like Stutz a lot. And he can play inside, but be an outside guy with the Raiders. You got freaking Eichenberg, who's going to be a monster. Going to be a monster. But you watch that guy Stutz. Keep her out of him. And the last one, Antoine Wells Jr., wide receiver out of Ole Miss. I've talked to you about him. Y'all know about him. He presents a problem. You got Jacoby, Trey Tucker, Bowers. You had Wells. That would be a great job. And then you get 3 first rounders in 26 in a draft full of quarterbacks. Okay, so now watch this. But say Howard is everything they thought he would be. Okay. Then you don't have to use him for a quarterback next year. But if it goes that way, you may not even take Howard in the 4th. You grab another talent. You got Aiden O'Connell backing up Geno. And then you use those 3. Or if you get Howard and he's everything you thought, you still got 3 first rounders next year to make your team even better. Remember, Spytek, aggressive, but intelligent. And he's such a smart guy. Such a smart guy. He is going to do a great job. I cannot wait to share with you. And I don't know if I'm going to get to do it before the draft, but I'm in the process of writing an article about Spytek. I think you're going to love it. Just really getting to know and understand him, who he is, how he is, what he is, his approach. He brings one thing to this table that I've not heard anyone talking about with the Raiders, and I can't wait to share it with you. Intelligent, but aggressive. Look at that haul of players. And that's not even all their picks. And that right there would be a great draft. And there's more picks. And they now have 3 for next year. Come on, somebody. Come on, somebody. That's a draft now. I want to thank all of the men who helped me with this mock draft. That's a good one now. And the Raiders just got a lot better. See you all tomorrow.